what badges are equipped to the players, but we can't see the takeovers in this view. So
you think Jordan was getting up there at this point? He's hitting shots. He's a lot of breakaway jams, steals.
Like even towards team takeover at some point too.
Well, wouldn't that be that would change the entire momentum. We got a whistle with 2:11 to go, 64-60, a little timeout, 1 remaining for Yamaha. He's got a 4-point lead, but only 3 remaining on the shot clock. Get it into Havlicek. Back out to AD at the buzzer. Hits the 3 as the shot clock expires. That's salt in the wounds.
Yeah, hitting Jomar a little bit of a magic of his own. Pass back to AD on the inbounds.
That's how Jomar forced an overtime. An eventual win. And Jordan gets it taken away by T-Mac. 3! Luka drops it in. And just like that, you go from a 4-point game to a 10-point game, and it's taken away again. We might have our first big upset of the tournament. The Giant and Jomar. 5 to shoot. Just has under 90 seconds to pull. He'd have to pull off a huge comeback, and there's an offensive board. And KD's going to work the clock again. And that's a shot clock violation. But that was an extra 14 seconds. It's really Jomar versus the clock right now anyway. Whew, almost a backcourt. Everything from here on out's got to be threes. And that rattles around. Skips it. What a skip pass. It owed him. Makes it a 7-point game. It's Yamaha's game to lose at this point, Dirk.
Yeah, Jomar's just going to have to play, very sporadic. We're going for these traps. You have to commit to the double teams even more, try to get the ball knocked loose in some sort of way.
5 on the clock.
And boom. And there's a pause to let you know it's the dagger. 72-63, under 30 seconds to go. Talk that talk. And it looks like the man from Puerto Rico who won $250K a year ago in Chicago is going to see his run come to an end. And maybe we should have seen it earlier in the tournament. I mean, that's how much he escaped in that one game.
Yeah, that very first matchup. Again, the resilience to show that you can come back in the ball game no matter how much you're down. But it's just, again, right here, he was close. 6 points. That's where it was at the entire time, but just couldn't get off that hump. But for Yamaha to come out and do what he did, capitalizing really flawless when you're talking about the way that the offense was ran and just kind of taking whatever that he gave and wasn't really forcing anything, but was just able to really decipher and get the ball to the right spots on the floor.
Well, the final on Xbox is set. It's going to be two-way Rocco taking on, who you just saw, Yamaha, who takes away Jomar, who won the 250 a year ago. PlayStation 4 final is set as well, Dirk. Onst. Well, I guess we'll know it by the end of the day. Onst. Either way, he's taking on Splash for the chance to win $250K on March 6th. And I tell you what, every game that we've seen today has come down to just those final few possessions. But how about Yamaha kind of pushing away there at the end? Back-to-back threes.
Yeah, he did have a bigger lead, obviously, earlier in towards the ball game, but that's the thing, whenever you're sitting there and you're kind of just looking at how the game plays out with the settings and everything that factors into my team, you're more likely going to start to see somebody come back into the game, but it was good for Yamaha to not fold, right? No matter what Jomar's throwing him, double teams, presses, which just make sure to be patient, advance the ball, and really slow it down.
Well, let's bring back in Ronnie 2K. He's the man with the codes. And Ronnie, welcome back. What do you got for us this time?
Yes, we got 250K dash my team dash points. There's a chance to get up to 2,000 my team points. those my team points are real useful when you're trying to get that, final player to round out your squad. And we've seen some really good squads so far match up here. That was a fun game, but I'm sad we don't get a repeat champion. Jomar was a great classy champion. I remember Donovan Mitchell and myself handing him the check last year in Chicago. Things have changed a lot since then, but
Yeah.
it's sad that the Puerto Rican sensation does not get to defend his title.
Well, there is a tradition of at least one NBA 2K League player in the final. So now it's up to Splash Dirk. He's the only one left. It was, don't let me draw a blank on the get-go. Come on, help me out, Dirk.
Turn up defense.
Turn up defense. A man from Las Vegas, who actually won an NBA 2K championship, by the way. And then we'll see if Splash can get it done coming up here on PlayStation 4. I think he's got a pretty good chance, but he's going up against your dark horse.
Yeah, but I still think so. You can have the dark horse, but you can have the absolute favorite and probably the best player coming from PlayStation. But then again, I mean, that's the thing with some more unknown guys. You don't know what they're truly capable of. But for the way that Splash has been playing, and I think especially with the win that he just got over MJ's, is really going to catapult him. He's got a lot of momentum going behind him. And Onus going in, I mean, you're going to be playing as the underdog, which he's been playing as the underdog this entire tournament. So you have to see how that plays. But I'm very excited to see if Splash can be able to carry the torch of getting a 2K League player into the finals.
Ronnie, I promised a lot more locker codes, at least a few more. You got a few more left for us before we...
I got a few more.
Okay.
But I'm
right.
really excited about this action. You mentioned Honest. Honest is really... he's been a real surprise, the comeback kid. I mean, he came back from 15. Let's see if he cannot get in that big of a hole this time. We're going to have to see.
Yeah, it's a real David versus Goliath matchup. That is scheduled to tip off just a few moments from now. We're going to step away for a moment. When we come back, a lot more locker codes, and of course, a whole bunch of money on the line with the finals coming up on both consoles here in the tournament. We'll see you in a few.
Hey,
And welcome back. We got PlayStation 4 final, Xbox final, all leading up to the big money on March 6th. Scott Cole, Dirk the Caster, Ronnie 2K, and I tell you what, Ronnie, we're going to have a brand new champ as we just saw Jomar get beat.
Yeah, how about that? Money on the line, and we are going to have a new champion, no back-to-back for Jomar.
And I tell you what, Dirk, you called it. Jomar just never could get back in the game, never could make it a one possession. Kept trying to get to the top of the mountain, but hey, you mad, huh? Just kept him at bay. He was sort of playing, I don't know, playing not to lose. I know that sounds cliche, but he really did a great job of protecting the lead.
Yeah, I mean, it was just playing smart, right? I feel like for so much of this tournament, we've seen a lot of people where they just want to keep playing fast. And I feel like just because of how good the cards are in my team, that everybody moves around, like at this crazy, insane speed. So you don't want to keep going. But he did such a good job of like slowing things down on the press. I mean, there's a couple times where Jomar caught him, was able to capitalize on it, but he really wasn't making any scary passes, even when Jomar kept on throwing trap or double teams at him the entirety of the time. So I think that's something you really do have to give UMAD a lot of credit for, is just slowing down the ball game, realizing, hey, like I've had a 4 to 6 point lead. I'm not going to let this slip away just by, just pressing X and sending up a prayer for something to go through. So a lot of good things to take away when you're looking at just the overall game management from UMAD, huh?
And I think anyone who wins on the Xbox side, I mean, it's going to be a Cinderella story. The question is do we have two Cinderellas in the final, Ronnie, next week, or can Splash somehow continue the favorite? And really, this is kind of his tournament to lose at this point.
I would totally agree. Splash has got to be considered the favorite, the last 2K League guy, the guy that we're familiar with. And honestly, he's probably been the most consistent through the tournament. The other guys have, had scores fluctuate on them. They took a massive comeback on that side of the bracket for this final to happen. So it's really anybody's ballgame. But yeah, the Xbox side, 2 unknown guys. That should be a lot of fun to watch as well.
Let me give you some of these scores for Splash. 88-49 is how he started the day. He wins by 12 versus T Loading, which we thought could be a little bit closer. Then, of course, they're in the quarterfinals. Beat MJ's TV 96-82, Dirk. So he's putting up a lot of points in bunches. I think Honest is going to be he's going to have a good start here. Ronnie mentioned he can't afford to get down again, especially not to do Edition Flash, a.k.a. Splash.
Yeah, I mean, when you're just looking compared to anybody else in this tournament so far, 85 plus points in every single game that he's scored. And another thing to kind of touch up on when you're looking at UMAD, he's kind of been in that exact same boat up until when he just played against Jomar. Same thing for Flash, too, is that people are putting up some points against him. So it's kind of like relying on, I'm just going to outscore you, maybe not have to really sit there and focus on the defensive side of things all too much. So that'll be really interesting if that's a matchup to come forward, maybe in the finals or something. But I think for, New Edition Flash, the scoring is something that we've become accustomed to just watching him play 2K over the years. But to see him kind of leading the way out of everybody in the entire tournament is not too much of a surprise for me.
Well, we're getting close to the next game tipping off. We're also getting close to the next locker code. I believe it will be PlayStation 4 first. That's the game that we will see. But they're both going to be pretty close to tipping off. Really close at the same time. We try to stagger them as much as we can. Over on the Xbox side, any thoughts there, Dirk? You got Rocco, you mad, huh? We've seen them both play well, but these are two guys that have really making a name for themselves here today.
Yeah, I mean, Rocco, a.k.a. Ty Debo, I mean, he's trying to do something nobody else has done. Global championship winner, trying to go forward, and he's had his sights set. I mean, even that same year when Jomar won, they're trying to get through to the qualification, but now this is the closest that he's ever been to being able to achieve that greatness. So I think for him, right, there's just a different level of motivation, and there's a reason that people are favoring him to come out on top of this Xbox side. But for someone like UMAD, with what we just saw from him, with how he was able to play against Jomar, kind of shifts things a little bit to where maybe it's just not going to be a walk in the park for Ty Debo. But I still think if I'm sitting here making a prediction, the number 4 seed I think is going to take this one.
Yeah, I mean, he's almost UMAD has almost scored 100 points in each of his games. I keep forgetting, Ronnie, that's Ty Debo on that Rocco. I call them creep tags, right? Where you don't really know who you're playing, and the next thing you know, you get beat by 50. So I mean, that would be quite a final if you have the two favorites, which is Ty Debo taking on Splash.
Yeah, he can't hide in that final. That final's going to come down to the best players on both consoles. it's going to be a lot of fun. But look, that's why we play the games. You know, the tough thing here is that 2 people are walking away with no money. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have to find out. We're gonna have to find out. I mean, these guys have. It's been a 16-week process, like you're talking about.
I'm trying to get it a loop for
earlier.
next year, so the
And
people that I'm
let's
fucking
see
with
if
that get drafted,
let's see if they can
they
offer
remember
some
me.
cash. That's what it's about.
I mean, I didn't think about. We could actually put it this way, as you can see the prize money. This is actually a $50,000 game.
But what it is
for
Yeah.
somebody
respect.
here. You
It's
know what I'm saying?
respect.
If you win,
Motherfuckers that's
you're at
been
least
in the
taking
league,
home
motherfuckers
50.
that's
So,
been hooping with people that's in the league.
you know, I was thinking, well, there
If
isn't
they don't
any money
respect
on the
you,
line
you're not
today.
getting
That's all
in.
going to happen March
You're not
6th,
getting
as you
in.
can see the prize pool
You're
there.
not getting
But
in.
Ronnie, this is actually
Yeah,
about to be a
money is on the line.
$50,000
Disrespect you out,
game
yeah,
of
nice.
2K21.
Yeah, how about that? I mean,
God,
2
he got
opportunities
that.
for that. But look,
Can't
winner take all in that regard.
Yeah.
And the loser walks home with nothing.
Just
I mean, we were
respect.
there.
Yeah,
We were
just
there
respect.
when the loser took nothing last year in Chicago.
And the
it's
year
a- it's a
before in
rough thing.
Charlotte. I mean,
And
it's
the year
painful.
before. Yeah, so at least we have 2 people in the cash, but look, there's 2 people not going to be in the cash that are remaining. So this is going to be high quality basketball for sure.
And I like the change, especially with us not being able to be there, an All-Star weekend, just with everything going on. Hopefully, if my desk was wood, I'd knock on it. That we, get to be at the All-Star game next week. I mean, what are you thinking here, Dirk? Are we going to see an upset in either of these finals?
Oh, I mean, it would honestly shock me. But I think just like kind of the way that the way have been paved so far up until this point, having the 2 favorites getting into the console finals, I feel like it's going to end up just being that Splash versus Ty Debo matchup, man. I think that's just the way that this is going to end up playing out. But, hey, we love spoilers. Spoilers create a magnificent story, especially when it comes down to creating hype up till next week for the actual championship.
I mean, I would say that Ty Debo's played some closer games than Splash has at this point, but you tell me. I'll go back to you again, Dirk. PlayStation or Xbox? What's the tougher road here? I know, probably for the ProAm guys, I might say PlayStation as we get the game started here. Here we go. It's going to be, I believe we are on the
PS4.
the PlayStation 4 side here. Splash is going to be in the blue aqua jerseys, and the home team, in fact, is going to be honest here. Yeah, that's an early timeout, to say the least.
It's always good to get that first one out of the way, right? We always see that.
Yeah,
Usually our hearts kind of stop when there's an early timeout, like 4 seconds into the game, like, oh no, is something happening?
Well, I know you're wondering, hey, okay, is his roster right? Did he have something that he wanted to change? Because sometimes you don't know the starting lineup that the other guy's bringing up, and that's what happens. Lamar Ball, Lonzo Ball will check out and actually makes a change at the point guard position. And it's a Ben Simmons. So we'll have to see how that factors in. Sky Cole, Ronnie 2K, Dirk the Caster along with you. PlayStation 4 final. Winner gets into the grand final with a chance to win $200K. And I understand, Ronnie, you're going to be coming back a little bit later, giving us some more codes.
Yes, sir. I'm going to come back with some more codes, but I want to lock in and watch this competitive action because they're promising to be 2 good games. But yeah, I'll be checking back in with you guys before we get to that money.
Yeah, there you go. Ronnie 2K, appreciate it. Slow start here, Dirk, in the first minute as we finally get the first points coming in from the outside from Honest.
It'll be interesting to see with Splash. I mean, we haven't really been able to watch much of his gameplay, but bringing Ben Simmons into the ball game, it's kind of using him. You see, like he's spacing the floor, putting AD in the corner, and he's just running a pick and roll with Ben Simmons. It's no secret Ben Simmons not the greatest three-point shooter, so maybe you can try to get some of that showtime there too for Ben Simmons when he's going into the lane and trying to get more of these flashy dunks.
That's it.
That's reverse jam.
You play enough time for you to play a couple regular season games or your tourney or whatever.
He's trying to find a rhythm here. I was surprised to see Honest as the home team. There's a 3 from the outside. He drops it in. Maybe Splash wanted to be the away team. I don't know. This is a 3 versus 8 matchup. Splash is the number 3. See, there's a big time jam He'll head to the line as well. Now the scoring's starting to pick up.
And Splash is one of these players, too. I think he's so confident in his three-hunting ability that he'll play this game to where, you know, if he's just going to give you open lanes, run into the basket to get some twos, then guess what? I mean, he's going to do that every single time because he just has that faith to where I can come down in the half court and I'll be able to score, just rain threes on you with Havlicek or anybody else that can shoot the three ball.
The chat's asking if you can change the camera. Can you just do that for us?
No, love broadcast cam.
Now we're using the spectator cam here, and that's just how it goes. We got another timeout here.
You just gotta win one, or you ain't even gotta win.
An early timeout led to
It's
an
a
early
golden ticket so you
substitution,
can lose.
and now both teams have used a timeout. 3:02 to go. This is a PlayStation 4 final. You got Splash, the favorite. He's rocking that 414 tag. And I don't know if Onus is he just repping Chi-Town?
Yep.
Whatever they've been having.
So we got a Milwaukee Chicago matchup.
We got two anime fans. That's all I do know in this one. There's a three from the outside from Splash living up to his name.
To the inside. Malone.
There's a jam. Little Moses Malone.
I think the only thing that you really have to worry about right if you're playing this way as Splash is limiting that show time. You don't want players rolling to the basket and getting that because that's going to build up. And I think it doesn't cross many people's minds. If you play the mode, obviously you know, but for people who really don't play, you don't get to pick when you call in your takeover. It just kind of like when it's ready and it pops. But you can also build up that team takeover too on your team. So that's something that you have to factor in why you see the Showtime dunks being used so much.
$14 to 10. Got a code coming just around the bend here. Now, I'll never get used to seeing Havlicek doing windmill jams, but it's been the norm today.
Here's the three.
And he's a dual threat. Can't knock it in there, though. And wow, there's the spinorama. And the lay it in. I'm telling you, this kid's got skills. As we welcome back in Ronnie 2K for another locker code, but I hope we're not done.
That was real pretty. Yeah, I had to come back. I dug up a really quick
What do we
one.
got here?
We got tokens. You know, you got to get those
It's like 250K
token market players.
tokens drop.
Up
I've seen
to
that
21
right there.
tokens.
Yes, you are. All caps, 250K hyphen
All
tokens
caps.
hyphen drop, and expires at 5:08 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Obviously, that's today. You get up to 21 tokens. Up to 21.
I got to find out how many tokens.
I'm
you
sorry,
get
was
on
I
the
on mute? My fault.
chat. Yeah, I was like, I know you're here. I can see
was
you.
not talking. No, my fault.
Can you make it official, Ronnie?
21 tokens. I went to go dig them up, and then I forgot to turn these off. That's awesome. No, this is a great logger code. Obviously, you know, people are trying to get to that Galaxy Opal level of my team rewards with the token rewards, so this will help. Certainly help.
Yeah, I know a lot of people in chat. They were like, "Hey, people are asking for opals," and there's some guy in chat saying, "You just need to grind for it." And we still got a few lacquer codes to go. Appreciate it, Ronnie. 18 to 12 here, and Splash adding to it, Dirk.
Showmanship is just deflating right
Yeah, this is where, again, like he just has so much experience when it comes down to running this pick and roll. And for Onus, it's definitely having some, issues guarding it here so far, but this is where you have to try to make those adjustments. And you see throughout the tournament so far, Onus being able to think on the fly.
Defensively for this team, there's no doubt about that.
20 to 12. It was back and forth throughout the quarter, but Splash has been on a bit of a run here. Here's a corner three, though.
Three-point range.
That'll help. It's a 5-point game.
Oh, this is the Karl Malone sighting.
I know. I wonder if Splash was watching early because that AD destroyed.
It's blocked.
But I guess when you got Havlicek doing that, but the switcheroo gets blocked. 8.3 to shoot.
Ooh, and it went out of him. Okay.
Wow, okay. Well, this all of a sudden becomes a huge possession. You can cut it to 2 or 3 here. Clock running down. You got to get the shot off. You use the window. So gets the stop and gets the score, and we're going to have just a 3-point game going into the second quarter.
I wonder how many people watching this predicted the game to be this close at the end of one. I mean, but it was a very slow start, if you remember. But then Splash just started to pick up the pace a little bit, and then started to pile on the score. But Onus just keeping it within 3 points. This is a perfect position for him to be in.
We were talking in the pregame, Dirt, that Splash has been putting up a lot of points. He's been winning not only by double digits, but he had one game where he won by 38 to start the day. So he's been sharp early, and he's just been keeping it going. Ooh, there's the spin. It's a deep one. Bottom of the net, nothing but nylon. We got a 2-point game.
So I'm saying it's crazy for Onus getting to this point and actively using Blake Griffin and Karl Malone to be able to put himself into this position.
Splash starting to slow it down a bit. 2-man game. Answers with a 3. No. Karl Malone brings it down. Louisiana Tech's best. And then ball. Lonzo. All right. We're tied.
That's good recognition from Splash here, too. He says, I feel like, when we play 2K at a high level, you always sit there and in your head, it's like, I know when momentum is starting to shift. When do I need to call timeout? You get so many of them, too. So good heads up there from Splash, calling the timeout, utilizing it, just try to slow some things down. But could potentially be a big possession for him in terms of getting some of that momentum back.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. You got Jordans, you got Kobe's. No, Lonzo Ball. That's what I'm going with. And we got a timeout here by the Phantom Troop, a.k.a. Splash. Still playing under the long-time gamer tag of New Edition Flash. 4:06 to go in the half. Winner makes it into the money. This is a $50,000 game. With a chance to 4 times your money 2 weeks from now on March 6th. That'll be the final. Chance to take home $200,000, Dirt. 200.
Yeah, meanwhile, you have all the guys that have lost previously, like, wow, I didn't get 50K. But that's a good thing.
It's like a lotto. I mean, it really is. And this is the first year that the second place takes home some money. I mean, they got some incredible prizes and experiences in years past, but it was a winner-take-all tournament, which I like in theory until you see the guy that loses, and you're like, oh man, that's brutal. So a good change, especially here when it's all virtual and you're not getting that all-star experience.
Yeah, I think it's just good too. It's based on the fact that just knowing that if you win, it's like your investment is already paid off. Even if you're not going to get the $200,000, like $50,000 is still an insane amount of money, compared to maybe what you put into the My Team mode.
We'll see how it plays out.
Someone's asking in the chat, should you sell KD? Give me a 1 for sell. Give me a 2 for no.
I don't know that this is the time for that kind of player. In a close game, the important
26 all in this one.
2 points, not necessarily.
Shot in the corner's good.
He had to go for that, didn't he? My goodness. I can't fault the guy for adding a little.
Can't leave number 2 alone.
I'm fine, even if he didn't miss
Well, he's had that shot all day. A little stop and pop for Lonzo.
it up a little bit.
This is, again, like we said, he was not in that bad of a spot, just being down 3 in that first quarter, and now he found himself in a tie ball game.
A lot of cells out there. A lot of cell KDs. Boy, that's a big shot. Jack and forth they go, 32-29. I get it, though. Hey, if you can get all that MT, I could understand that.
Taking matters into his own hands.
I've always been, when I'm building my team, you get a good item, get a good card. I'm like, I could turn this one guy into 3 guys, especially when you're starting out.
Yeah, I have like one of the opposite problems that a lot of people usually have when it comes down to opening up packs and modes like that. It's like I have very good pack luck, which is usually something people don't say. But anytime I do get into the mode, maybe want to build a team, I get some of the best cards, and I'm like, I just can't. I'm terrible at, playing like 5v5 like that, just like 1v1, but controlling everybody, like quick match, and nope, can't do it.
Agreed, the agility on display. Yes,
We like to put our park skills on display. You can see it coming back in 2K22. And there's a 360.
Remember that one for a while.
I know I will, Greg. That was special. That was really special.
36-33.
Right there, guys.
It's tipped.
And that's knocked away. Every possession big. I mean, when you think about it, you only get a few stops per game. I mean, it's less than 8. I mean, pretty much people are scoring every time down. So the question is it 2 or 3? That's a deep 3. Wow.
Now it's a
Oh,
Those are starting to add up, guys.
from way downtown.
I was just about to say, I feel like Splash is probably not getting the amount of threes up as he'd probably like to in a lot of the games that he's been playing so far today. So you got to wait for him to see if he can maybe catch fire at some point and really start to pile on the three-point shot.
Goes out to Odom.
30 seconds
It
left.
was really a resort to the half-court game. We haven't seen a lot of fast break points.
Got 7 points.
And that's because it's nothing but buckets down there.
Himself now, guys, after getting shut out in the first quarter.
Scott Coldirt, the caster, along with you. Our privilege and honor to be with you here on a Saturday. Wherever you are, thanks for making us a part of your day. Hope you're hanging in there. Final seconds of the half. Karl Malone goes to the left.
Knocked loose.
And boy, that's a turnover.
Wow.
Just threw that one up in the front row for Moses Malone.
I thought it got tipped.
Lonzo Ball's been the story here at the end of the half. No. Can't knock it down. Down by 4.
As we get into this third quarter, as we've seen so far, neither team.
And this is pretty much the toughest competition that Splash has had all day. So he has really slowed this game down. And it's taken away. The break and the jam. 41-39 now. The underdog says it's not over yet, Dirt. It is taken away again. Can Tyre take the lead? And Lonzo will bring it back out and they'll set it up. Karl Malone, are you kidding me? Let's be honest, Dirt. Played absolutely terrible last time we saw Karl Malone. He has flourished in this one.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, too, I mean, when he's been getting the ball when it comes down to shooting the threes, been actually knocking it down when we have seen him out there on the floor. But as you talked about, is always that mismatch and that difference with the player you just saw checked in, Anthony Davis. That's where we saw him just kind of bully his way every single time.
Yeah. Yes. Havlicek doing Havlicek things. Well, not really. But it's a 360 jam. And that's a 3. That's 2 open.
He's got 7.
So far, so good.
And all of a sudden, he's got the lead.
3 for 3.
Honest has battled all the way back. And AD with a quick jam.
Teams getting it done defensively, as evidenced by the 8 lead changes thus far.
There's Karl. Nice drop step. And AD says, get that shot out of here. Long 3. Bang.
Just don't realize how difficult it is.
And something you notice, too, is that the past 2 times where you see Onus maybe start to get some, momentum going his way, 2 timeouts called in by Splash, is able to come back and then all of a sudden turn things going back to his way off of big defensive stuff.
And they're forcing the ball inside, and it's working like a charm.
Back and forth they go. 2-point game. Havlicek from the logo. And that's going to go up and over the backboard. Splash starting to take his shots a little earlier in the shot clock than he did in the first half, Dirt.
Yeah, he's shooting from pretty deep, too. And, there's no issue if it's completely wide open. But the defenders have been doing a good job of just kind of sticking to him. So maybe bring the game in just a little bit, or wait for the screens to hit, you know, a tad bit more before splashing and taking these shots.
Malone. And that's going to be a shot clock violation. 2:33 to go in the third. Winner heads to the grand finals. All-Star Weekend, March 6th, $250K on the line. This game alone is worth $50K of that. You pretty much guarantee yourself a money with a win. And that's why, I mean, you're talking about the loss hurting in this one. You leave with 0.
Inside.
And we still have another locker code coming up at the conclusion of this game. Also, we still have the Xbox final to go. There's the break. And he's going to bring it out and use a timeout here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe didn't want to try to get, you know, honestly, now that we bring it up with Havlicek's dunks, have we seen Havlicek just do a normal, like, rim grazer dunk? Everything
No.
has been a windmill,
No.
you know, something crazy. And he just got blocked that previous time, so maybe just didn't feel that safe going up with it. But yeah, I mean, it looked like he had a little bit of a runway to go with, and then he turns it over.
Clearly, Havlicek would have been the 1967 slam dunk champ. Just before his time. There's a 3, knocking it down. Honest takes the lead one more time. Can he get a stop? That's the question. And that one rattles in. The members bounce coming in for new edition Flash.